Hi, this is Cindy Abbott-Letro for Behind the Camera, and today we are on set of a film that is called, just right now, Cabrini. It may not be the official title, we'll find out, but we are with Peter Silbermann, who has had a very long and distinguished career in films. He is a unit publicist, and we will find out what that's all about. Peter, great to be with you on this sort of warm day here in Buffalo. But you've been shooting this film, and it looks like, from the costuming that I see, that this takes place at sort of, what, the turn of the century?
1880s, okay. New York.
Now, your title is unit publicist, so I think publicity, that you're the person that is sort of crafting the story of what the public will learn about this film before it's released.
That's beautifully said, yes. So, you know, that's my mission. I mean, that's my job. And in the spirit of doing it, there are lots of things. I mean, a unit publicist, if this were a studio film, I would be your liaison to the studio from production, handling all of the publicity and marketing needs. But we are an independent film, and as an independent film, so the unit publicist designation expands significantly. So I come up with the marketing and publicity strategy in conjunction with a colleague of mine, and obviously everything is discussed, but you know, we want to position the film properly in the marketplace, and then of course I deal with all of the local media and anything that comes up.
Well, one of the things that I was just thinking is interesting about this is that we often think of publicity as something that comes after.
Right.
But you're involved at the very beginning, because
yes.
The message that you want to create needs to be crafted, you know, before you even start filming.
Correct, exactly. So, you know, we position the film with a synopsis, a short synopsis, a long synopsis, make sure that we're all saying the same thing. So when you speak to me, or if you speak to our producer, Jonathan Sanger, we're all sort of on the same page in terms of the way we present the film. And, you know, our job really is, it's multi-layered. You know, I mean, I deal with the media, I deal with our potential distributors, potential studios, with our cast. I mean, there are many aspects to my job. I'm too boring to explain.
Well, no, it's not boring. It's really key. But I was just saying, you're putting that message together. Well, what is the message for this film?
Well, the message is selling this film about, the thing about this film is the story is as relevant today as it was in 1880. It's about female empowerment. Cabrini is an incredible human being, and operating against all odds. I mean, absolutely no one, at a time when women were not even considered viable or significant, she accomplished an enormous amount for women. I mean, she was just that determined. She dealt with the archdiocese in New York. I mean, none of them wanted anything to do with her, as you can imagine. But she just forged through and was incredible. You know, she created hospitals, she created orphanages, she created facilities of educational facilities. She took care of her people. She took care of the immigrants and elevated their status.
You're a storyteller, I would say, in a way. Because you're crafting the story. There is a story there to tell, but you decide how and where and when and all of that. Was this something that you always wanted to do? Because I think, you know, it's fascinating for people in Buffalo that are involved in watching all of the different elements, that it takes so many people to make a movie. I've always thought that when I see the credits running. But unit publicist, I mean, I didn't think you grew up thinking, one day I want to be a unit publicist.
No. My dad was a judge, a Supreme Court judge, and my mom was a district leader. And so I went to law school for 4 years at night and hated every minute of it. And I was always interested in theater. I wanted to produce theater, and I also needed to work. And it was a job I got was at Paramount Pictures when they were on 1501 Broadway, and it's sort of where I got my beginning. So, I've remained in that area. I've taken lots of detours. I did produce a film.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
What was that?
It's called Amnesia.
Okay.
A terrible movie, but I did it.
You at least got to produce a film.
Yes, I did get it, and I love what I do. And what happens with movies, if you freelance, which I do, because I had a long history of studio executive jobs. I'm not a good politician. I'm a great guy, but I'm not good at studio politics. So for me, unit publicity is great, or marketing coordinator. I do both things, because if a job is long and it's great, it's never long enough, but it's over. If it's terrible, it's over, and you can move on to the next.
So you're here on the set as things are being developed and as everything is being shot. Once everything is, they've shot everything what do you do?
Well, when the film is completed, the principal photography is done, I have to write production notes. I have to give notes on our EPK, which is the behind.
And when you say that, what are production notes?
Production notes are a marketing tool. So if you say 6 months from now and we have a distributor and you want to do a story about this film, I would send you production notes. So it's about the production, okay. It's bios of the cast, it's bios of the crew, it's all the materials you would need to know about the film, and obviously those notes are positioned properly.
We always assume, I think those of us from the outside looking into the industry, that everybody knows everyone. Had you worked with Jonathan Sanger before?
No, I hadn't, and I don't know how that's possible, because we both have long careers, and he is amazing. It is a joy to come to work to see him every day.
And what's the difference between, because you've worked with any number of different producers, what does he do that's different?
Well, he's smart. He's honest. He makes wonderful movies. Wonderful. He made Marshall here.
Oh, sure.
A spectacular film. He just has great taste and makes wonderful movies that I want to see.
And what's, when we talk about independent versus studio films, because, I think Marshall was an independent film as well.
It was, and then a studio picked it up for distribution. Yes, it was.
Is there a difference between the studio versus independent?
Yeah, a studio film is financed by the studio. Say Paramount, for example, they underwrite the production costs. This was financed by Eustace Wolfington, and Jonathan can tell you a bit more about Eustace. Amazing. So that's an independent film. There's a great thing about being independent. You can make the film you want to make, but with a studio film, you're sort of guided by some of those constraints. Studio has a very focused idea on the kind of film they want to make. The best thing is you're doing a studio film and the studio leaves you alone to make your movie. There are very few studios that do that. But it's, you don't have to worry about the money. Here we worry about the money. So
when you're talking about being independent, it's independent, but on sort of a really, you're paying attention to the budget all the time.
Well, you always, even for a studio film, you have to pay attention because you're accountable for that money. And if you go over, you have to, either they allow you to go over or give you more, or say that's it. We're not. Independent, same thing. If we need more money, we have to go to our financiers. But you have the freedom to make the movie you want to make. And we are blessed with our financiers. They are just spectacular.
I have to ask, how do you like Buffalo? Has the experience been good?
I love Buffalo. I love the people. I love your weather, except for today, hot and muggy, bad hair weather. I just love it. But it's such a surprise to me.
We like to hear that, and we love to have you here. Peter Silbermann, when we hear the story, when Cabrini comes out, if it's Cabrini or another iteration of that title, it's a working title, we'll know that you had a hand in creating that message. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
And join us next time for Behind the Camera.